So good evening guys, and welcome to OTLrealistic on normal Thursday evening racing under realistic performance. It is round 19 and tonight the last stop of the week at Japan. Of course, remember, realistic performance means full qualifying, so 3 sessions to get through, and then of course our normal 50% race. Let's have a look quickly at who is where. So the cars for this evening, we have Clarky and Ryan, Sam in the Haas, Dixie and SPW in the Williams, Rage and Chubby Slug in the Alfa Romeos, F. Lewis and Nick in the Astons, Nico and Pedro in the Alpines, Mitzimat and Bossman in the Alfa Tauris, Ranger and Jay in the Ferraris, Mikey and Rob in the McLarens, Mikey of course the championship leader, Scarlett and Danny in the Mercedes, and Mick and Volks in the Red Bulls. Championship as it stands, we have, now let me get this right, 29 points between our top two. So Mikey on 335, we have ENTXG and P2 on 306. He is closely followed by Ryan Sam on 304, and then we have F. Lewis only 8 points behind them as well on 296. Then we have a bit of a gap to Chubby Slug and P5, he's in 249, being closed down by SPW in the closing phases of the championship. SPW up to 248 and P6. Then we get Ranger P7 on 233, Rage P8 on 224. He's tied with Nick on 221. Then we've got Dixie 3 points behind them. 224, sorry, Nick and Dixie 3 points behind Nick and Rage on 221. Then Pedro on P11 on 197. Clarky P12 on 189. Volks 13 on 133. Danny Boy P14 on 122. Skarma P15 on 120. Then we have Mick P16 on 119. Then we have Nico Rosberg P17 on 106, Mitzi Matt P18 on 105, Fingers P19 on 100, Bossman P20 on 84, and Helmet leads away in the constructor, the reserves of battle 37 points, Charlie on 32. Rob Bell's full time now, he's 28, so he's sent a bit off the back, and then Mitch on 21. So that is a rundown of who is where and what is happening this evening. So good evening Mick and Rob. Yes, we will release. Good evening Jay, hope you're well. Hope you're all very, very well. And Dixie says he's going to do a lap with no touch control. That is something I want to see. So who's our lead man? We've got a couple of drivers quite close to each other. Ranger and SPW wanting through. And Ranger's going to be our first man to open a lap. SPW not far behind. He's in the Williams, of course, this evening. We see weather roll in, that'd be interesting. So Ranger into turn 1, the long turn 1. Pick up your throttle nice and delicately. Stay away from the curbs now as we head through the S's. And probably one of the nicest sectors in Formula 1 racing. Weave your way through, taking that path of least resistance. Stay away from the curves because they will upset the car and whip you around in a heartbeat. Small lift as it comes up over the hill, heading towards Degna 1. It's going to be a 33 flat sector 1 time. Then Degna 2 downhill, pick it up nice in the apex, good early throttle application, and up towards hairpin. Get round the kink, get the car as straight as possible, get on the brakes, tuck it in nicely to the apex, pick up your throttle, early shift to third gear, maximise the traction, and then head around the tightest line as we head towards Spoon Corner. This double left-hander, picking your brakes about 30 metres, very, very late for your initial entry, and then let the speed scrub down, wind the throttle back up as the car drifts wide, heading now towards 130R, as we watch Sector 2 split a 13.7 for Ranger, so looking pretty quick in his Ferrari. In the last chicane to go, take as much of the curb as you dare on the inside, open up this last corner, could have took much more curb as well there. Hard on the power, hold the tight line all the way to the line, minimise the distance, and it will be a 30.7 for Ranger. Whereas SPW, he goes in a 32.3, so he's a little bit away. How is Jay getting on? He's in the Ferrari also in the medium compound tyre, so has been very good at Japan, so Jay, so I could see there's been a very competitive time, and it's a 30.6. He puts the medium tyre into pole position, beats his teammate by a tenth. Mick slots into P3 now in the Red Bull in a 31.4. He's 7 tenths away from the top as Pedro and his Alpine matches Mick. That looks a solid enough lap there from Pedro and his Alpine. Danny boy, he's on an invalidated lap. How's Skarma getting on? Coming through the last chicane. Where can Skarma go? In his Mercedes. And he goes on to pole position by a tenth of a second, so 30.5, but maybe be looking for more of a comfortable gap to that Ferrari with being on the mediums. Let's go watch Dixie for the bunts. More aggressive, Adam. You don't be a pansy with that throttle. Feed it in, but feed it in semi-aggressively into turn one he goes. And I tell you, as it stands at the moment, he's looking pretty tidy. See where he goes for the sector 1 split. He's 1.2 seconds off the pace of our man up front. No traction. Seeming not bad, but this is where he'll really feel the test. The car will bite, short shifting will be his best friend here. But reasonably aggressive out the hairpin, that was good to see there from Adam. He is trying to push on. Spoon corner coming up. And he has, I think this could be Rob Wills catching him up, but it is. He will be able to bank that though, 15.8 sector 2 time for Adam. Sector 3 is very, very small here. Into the last corner he goes. The last couple of corners. This is theoretically the last corner, but to the line. It's going to be a 33.3 for Dixie in this. It's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Rob Wills goes on to P2 in a 30.6, so McLaren looking pretty pacey. Of course, this is just to get you through into Q2 at the moment, so guys won't be taking massive risk. Let me grab some juice, chat. So Mr. Rage heading out in his outlap. I think it's just guys on outlaps at the moment. With Matty just opening a lap, so Matty and Eflu's pretty close to each other. I don't know if that's ideal. Certainly don't want to be catching somebody through the S's on your hot lap. Dirtier is not what you need to set a optimum lap. So for some reason I'm not allowed to see the other camera angle of Matty. That's why it's going to like 20 frames there. Let's try to change the camera. There we go. Into Digna 1. It's a 33.3 for Matty's. I think he's on the pace of Pedro here. He could split Pedro and SPW. And did Pedro improve his second lap? 31.4? Not sure. Good evening all, welcome, welcome. If you haven't guys, please do drop a little thumbs up on the video. or on the stream I should say, and if you haven't subbed to the channel, please do. So where can Matty fit the Aston Martin? I predict him to be somewhere kind of Pedro to Dixie mark. He may sneak in front of Pedro. He's going to have E and TXJ just ahead. Jay's going to get well out of the way, good lad there. He may pick up a this and next lap in validation for that as well. Jay improved to a 30.2 at the front, and Matty actually goes ahead of Chippy Slugs a 31 flat, and he's Aston Martin. That's a very good lap there for Matty. F. Lewis does a 31.4. And who was that? That was Mikey, I think. Up to P10 and a 31.9. It's middle of the grid, looking very, very competitive. Danny Boy goes P11 now, 31.9. Where is Mr. Rage? He's getting well out of the way of drivers coming through the S's. He's had a bit of a moment on his first run, I think. Oh, just picked up an invalidation. So it is Rangers at the moment at the second deck. Matty is... he's not on a lap because he's not using energy. Is F. Lewis going again? I don't think so. Nope. But Mikey is, so let's stay with Mikey, the man in the McLaren. He's been off the boil the last couple of weeks after some good form, so he'll be hoping to recover well in his McLaren this evening. Oh, this is a big oversteer moment, and Matty just wandering across the road there. That made Mikey second guess exactly what he was going to do there. And 4 tenths up, so a mid 31 at the moment for Mikey. Has he got any time in the last couple of corners? And he's still got the brake on there. That's interesting. So runs the brake all the way to the line and does a 31.6. I don't know if Mikey realised. So there, yeah, his brake is not going fully off there. I wonder if he knows that. Like when he's just resting on the pedal, it's actually still got the brake engaged. I did hear the difference once he got off the pedal as well, albeit it was only a little bit. So let's follow Mr. Rage in the Alfa Romeo. He's one of the men, only men not to set a lap at the moment. Although where is Volks in his lap? He's coming through spin, so we'll go to Volks and then we can jump back to Mr. Rage. Dixie getting well out the way of Volks. There's a 14.9 for Volks, and he just gets away with an invalidation there. He could have drifted wide, manages to get the car wound down. Last couple of corners now. It's a 32.4 for Volks. He goes up to P14. And Mr. Rage now coming up towards Spoon. So Jay Scarmer, Rob and Mick, they all feel they've done enough. I would tend to agree there. Somehow I don't think they're going to fall out the session. Yes. Yeah, okay, Adam. It's a 14-1 for Rage, so he's in about the SPW in that fight, I think. Can definitely get that Alfa Romeo through. And it's P7, so he goes ahead of Chippy Slugs, a 31.1. So he was 3 tenths ahead of Pedro in the end. Pretty much bang on. He gets himself P7 up, he's safely through for Rage. Now is Dixie going to go again? Nico Rosberg on and out lap. In fact, he's just going to open a lap, so we'll go with the Alpine man. Yes, Adam. Ah, yeah. Is that Teresa? Yeah, I answered. Evening, Mikey. Mikey, do you know, were you deliberately running the brake? Because if you are resting on your pedal, your brake is engaged. It's not by much, but it's like half of one of the little bars. but if you're resting your foot on the pedal, mate, it's very much engaged. I don't know if you know that. Just making you aware, because obviously when you're driving you may be too focused on what's ahead, but me watching your telemetry, you still have your carry in the brake, just in case that's some faulty equipment. Yeah, there's Jay backing me up now as well. Just so you know, mate, I'd rather you're aware of these kind of things. So Nico Rosberg on a reasonably good lap here. Let's see where he goes. He could slot in right beside Pedro, I think. Could he just pip ahead? It's a 30.8 for Nico Rosberg. That's a cracking lap to get that Alpine up into the 30s. Very, very good job there. So all out laps at the moment. Mr. Race Jobby Slug, I think they'll feel okay. Of course, we're only going to lose 2 drivers. So as it stands, Mitsumat and Dixie's going out. But Dixie just coming through the last chicane. And he is going to be one of the first men to get on that last hot lap of the session to try and drag his Williams through. Adam looking nice and tidy through the S's at the moment. This is definitely going to be a purple sector in terms of PB. He is definitely going to be up here. I am sure of it. Couple of tenths. Needs more than a couple of tenths, so he needs to find a big chunk of time in this middle sector somewhere. And if he's still on the no traction here, that was a very, very clean exit from the hairpin that time around. He's got nice and steady for Spoon. And he's got a much better exit there. So up the back straight he goes, heading towards 130. I think he'll have a good chunk of time here now as he heads through the sector split. No, still just 2.5 tenths, so needs to tuck up nicely at this last chicane. To the line he goes. He does improve. It's a 32.5. He finds 6.5 tenths in his lap, and he was not a million miles away from Mitzi. Matt, I'd love to know if Adam was still running the no traction control there. And now he is just pushing. This is what we would call a full send lap. We'll watch further back as there's drivers coming through. Mikey 4 tenths up at the hairpin. SPW's invalidated coming through the S's. Matty and F-Lows both come into the pits. So let's go to Mr. Mikey. Let's have a quick flash at Dixie. He's found some more time in that first sector, so we'll see if he can carry that all the way through. Mikey now heading down the back straight. 3 tenths up, which will put him pretty safe, but I think Mikey will feel like he's a little bit off the pace. And to the line he goes, DRS open, and he goes to P9. So Mikey will be nice and safe as the checkered flag falls. Where is Danny boy? He's coming up to Spoon, so we've got Dixie. Dixie is improving again. And a big snapper oversteer, and he goes to 32.4. He still finds another tenth in a second, but the checkered flag falls, so we will lose Mitsumat and Dixie. Danny boy will get through. He is half a second up, although the lap is invalidated and SPW's heading into the pits. So, we lose Mitzi and Dixie. Jay, Skarma, Rob, Mick, Ranger, Nico, and it's not going to let me see the rest. Good evening, Michael, I hope you are well. My number one Irish person. So I will wait until we get some telemetry on the screen, because I'm not sure who is beyond Pedro. Good evening, Skalma, hope you are well. I expect big things from you. I'm doing okay, just okay. That's kind of disappointing, Mike. So Q2 inbound, 15 minutes of action ahead of us, and of course those inside the top 10 start the race on their compound of tyre. He's still ill. Mate, he's still a bit sick. So Chubby Slug, the lead man, can he get the Alfa Romeo through in the medium tyre? Would be a good attempt if he can. Better is good. Better is good. I'm sure an inappropriate touch from Stephen would make me feel much better. Sorry. Going to be Matt and then Ranger, so they're next to each other on the list, which is pretty handy. Should go aboard with Matt as he heads down to turn 1. Platonic, I don't even know what that means, mate, honestly. I'll assume it's something nice and just say you're welcome. Does that work? Mataman now heading out of the S's. Teammate Mr. Rage not too far ahead on his outlap. Rage could maybe freeze up the road a bit, give Mataman a cheeky little tow here. Up the back straight to 130R, and then Rage could tuck in behind and get a little pull down the main straight, a little bit of teamwork. Oh, right, okay. I respect it. No naughtiness. I don't believe that. Mataman looking nice and tidy. Nice exit off a sprint. Up the back straight he goes. We've got a good reference here to where his lap time is, because we can flip between Rangers. A 14.8 for Chubby Slug. Sector 2 is a 13.8 for Rangers, so he's about a second off the pace of one of the men from the top, which is not too bad at all, I wouldn't think. Last corner, really, the car squirming, temperatures through the roof at this point. It's a 31.9 for Mataman, but Ranger about to fire in. He will go ahead, it's a 31.1, so Mataman found a good chunk of time. Ian TXJ now does a 29.6. He beats his teammate by half a second. Rob Will's coming to the line now. He goes 30.8, slots himself into P2. We've got SPW coming through the last chicane as well as getting himself through some cones. As somebody seemed to have clobbered the curbs, and he goes P6 now in a 31.6, gets himself ahead of Matoman as F. Lewis goes in there in these mediums on P6 in a 31.6 also. So who is next to come round? Mr. Rage is at the hairpin. He was a bit later on the lap, so I think Volksbob's going to be our next man. In the Red Bull, of course, we will lose 5 drivers. So Volksbob coming to the line in his Red Bull, and he goes P10 at the moment. It's a 32.1. He's a tenth away from his teammate. And Mick, although I think Mick is at the moment in his lap, he's way off the pace. I'd expect Mick to be much, although just had a surgery, so maybe not so much. So Mr. Rage, where can he go in his medium? He goes P6, a 31.2. That's a cracking lap from Rage there. Only a tenth away from the Ferrari. And I think Rage will be reasonably happy with that lap. Chubby Slug's going to try and go again on his medium. Yeah, I think so, but he's just out of hospital, Mike, so I'm not 100% sure what kind of condition he's in, honestly. So, I'm not sure. It's some kind of operation, I think. Yeah, so maybe a healthy Mick, yes. Definitely. He probably puts that Red Bull on pole, honestly. But let's see. Can't get any easier than in the Red Bull, I guess. Let's see how Mikey's getting on. He's looked a little bit off the pace through what we know Mikey has. Definitely got the potential to win this evening in the McLaren, but how much time is he back in the seat from his last race? Not sure. Almost halfway in the session, 8 minutes to go. Ranger now gets his medium compound tyre up to 30.5, so that's a very, very good lap there for Ranger. He found a lot of time in his second run. And Mikey setting a PB sector 2. Yes. Oh yes, Mike. Terrible. I think we'll genuinely see a Sunday race where 12 cars will finish. 30.8 for Mikey. He goes more akin to his teammate. That looks a better lap there for Mikey. Pretty much matching his McLaren men. Yeah, I don't see it being good at all. And Mikey goes for a wonder on his own lap. Matty coming into the last chicane, and he's way off the pace here. So he's coming in the pits. Yeah, it's gonna be, yeah, it'll be horrible, I think. I definitely think we'll see a few crashes. And Nico Rosberg picks up an invalidation coming out the S's. That is not good at all. Oh yeah, if he had tonsillitis, he'll be on it, he would have probably got antibiotics that day, and they would have knocked that on its head by now, definitely. I think Danny Rick's about to be out of contract as well, Mike. The stories going about the now are not good at all. Might have been a bit of a flop, you cannot lie. Personality's good in that, but he's just not quite got it, I don't think. The moving about too much ruined his career. Pedro had enough for the session, he feels he can go through in that lap time, 30.7. Two and a half tenths up is Mick, sector 1, so yeah, I think that's exactly what he done, Mike. And he's now firing up that lap time. So out of Spoon, heading towards 130, our sector 2 split comes up just a little before, so we'll get a good indication to where he's going to be, and then it's just a short blast, sector 3 to the line, 1.2 seconds up, so a 30 inbound here for Mick. I think we see him launch himself quite a bit up the order here, nice and tight to the line. And he goes to P4, it's a 30.6, 1.4 second gain, and looks more like the pace we thought he could set. Rob Wills improves, he goes to P2 in his soft compound tyre, it's a 30.2 for Rob. He's happy to start on the soft. Mr. Rage and Chubby, what do they do here? We get Danny on an outlap, F. Lewis in the pits, SPW out again on his softs. Yeah, that was more like it, Mike. Oh, excuse my yawn. What is going on with my camera? I don't get it. Excuse the 10 frames a second, but that's what happens when I try and change camera. I don't know if you see that on the stream, but it's so silly. There we go, now we'll actually change. Oh, and Josh gets a wee win invalidation there. I think Matty definitely got off the one. He was very close to being over the line there. And somebody round, who is that? That's F. Lewis on his outlap. Had a bit of a moment. Coming out the S's. So just an outlap, that's not too bad. So Matty, of course, not set a lap. So he's hoping for something big in this medium run. Something that's enough to get him through it. Or maybe he's just looking for that P11 slot and happy to start on the fresh compound. A 14.2 sector 2, he's looking pretty competitive, 31. Just what end of the 31 does he set? Might even be higher 30. No, it's going to be a 31. It's a 31.2, lower side, P9. Now pushes Chubby Slug out, so Chubby Slug, if he's going to go again, he has to go. If he wants to go through into Q3, that is. And he will need to run in the soft compound tyre, I would think. And Mr. Rage has just got a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. I've never seen anything like it. When have you ever seen a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking? Ah, Rage, that is unfortunate. Well, you know what you need to do, Rage, now you just need to go P5. Okay, as long as you go through, right, then a good Q3 result. But yeah, that's just one of the strangest penalties I've ever seen, honestly. And FPW, we missed it. We found an Alonso lap, goes P8, 31.1. Found a good chunk of time. So it's DBF Lewis as he comes up to the hairpin. Rob Wills had enough for the day. He's easily through anyway, I would think. F-race to spin. Oh, excuse me, chat. I do apologise. Head down towards 130 up. Again, as I said before, we'll get an indication of how much gain he has found on the tyre. Coming up to that sector split in just a moment. He's 1.1 seconds up, so a 30.5 inbound for F-Lewis. Challenging the top 4 in this Aston Martin here, so got some pace. He's found some pace once he's got onto that soft compound tyre. To the line he goes. And where can he put it? It's a P3 for F-Lewis, 30.4 in the Aston Martin. And that is a very, very good lap there. So Chubby Slug, he's on a lap. Danny Boy, I think his session is over. Volkswagen, can he improve? And Skalma, Skalma will still go out here, I think. I'm not sure what's happened. SPW retired from the session, so he feels he's P8 at best. Where does Volkswagen go? P14 only for Volks as the curtain falls, or the checker flag falls on Q2. Mikey coming to the line, he goes to P4 now. Checker flag out for him also. Mr. Rage is invalidated, but may slip through on that lap. In fact, I think he will. It's only Chubby Slug that could improve, and at worst he'll put Mr. Rage to P9. Mataman heading down the back straight. He's the only man. Oh, he crashed. Oh, you big dope. Chubby Slug, 2.5 tenths up. It would be enough as well. It's what he needs to get himself. Oh no, it's not. It is not. He needs way more than 2.5 tenths. I don't know what's happened to Matoman. Or would he actually? I'm not sure here. To the line he goes. He does go P8. It's a 31 flat. He finds 3 tenths and it does. Oh, and Mr. Rage gets pushed out because Skarma was DNF'd and still on a bit of lap time. So Chubby Slug has just knocked out his teammate on Mr. Rage. So Mr. Rage will start P11. And we'll only have 9 going through into Q3. Jay, Rob, F. Lewis, Mikey, Ranger, Mick, Pedro, Chubby and SPW all advance into Q3 for that pole position shootout. But as it stands, ENTXJ the man to catch. Drama. Chubby Slug knocking out Rage because Skarma with the DNF occupying that P10 position. Skarma, look at your pace as well. You were on course, you would have been P3. You bloody tit. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Easy for you to say, Adam. Some love in the chat for a Stephen Q3 appearance. We know they come rarely, so I'm sorry. Oh look, he's got a little spanner there. XO. Nah, that's cute. So who's the first to head out? Ranger wants to be the man to set the pace. Will Andy try and push on through and want that track position? Early pressure I think is very good. He is a spanner. Love the spanner. I also have one, look. I also have a spanner. Haha! Is Shiv here tonight? No, no Shiv. Now, SPW, do not make me take that spanner away from you. Oh. That's a big dose. I think that's the first time Adam's ever been timed out his own stream. So who's going to be a lead man? It is going to be Ranger. It's a very good lap, F-Lewis. I want to see you top 4 again. So Ranger will go on board as he heads out for his first run. F-Lewis and SPW maybe got only one set. SPW, hurry up and get out on track. And that, my spectator broadcast view has been stupid again. And I can't deal with that 20 frames a second. So Ranger coming through sector 1. Another big lift. Coming up out of S's, cresting the hill. And Degner 1 coming up, carrying maximum speed you possibly dare into the first one, then scrub it down. Third gear, small, snap it oversteer and exit, but balances the throttle very well. Then into the hairpin to head up the long curve towards Spoon Corner in the middle of sector 2. Then through Spoon, he's going to pick the shortest line once you get on the exit. Carry as much speed as you dare, nice and early on the throttle. Again, another bit of an oversteer moment there for Ranger. It's a 13.3, so one of the best middle sectors we've seen so far. But where is Jay? It's a 13 flat, so Jay at the moment 3/10 up on his teammate. In the same car, Ranger going to come out the last corner. He will go on to provisional poles. It stands at 30.3, but here comes Jay. And where does he go? It's a 29.9. It's 4/10 in the end to his teammate. Who else do we have? Mikey coming into the last corner. Where does Mikey put the Red Bull? That'll be interesting. I think he's a little bit off the pace of the guys up front at the moment. And it's a 30.4. He's off pace. My bottom. He's only a tenth away from Ranger there. Let's go to Mikey coming out the last corner. Where does he go? He goes on to P4. It's a 30.5. And now where do we have Chubby Slug going to be able to put the Alfa Romeo? It's a 56.6. What a lap from Matoman. That is the lap of the day. And Pedro getting out of his lap, so no more for Pedro. F. Lewis coming out of sector 1. I think he's one of the only men on a committed lap at the moment, so we'll stay with him. Matt showing us a glimpse of his true form. Yep, Slug spun. Oh, did he? I missed that. So F. Lewis out the last corner he goes. He goes to P5, it's a 30.6. Pedro gets disqualified for going the wrong way. Oh, that happened to me, Pedro. It's exactly what happened to me yesterday. Chubby Slug going into the pits. Rob Wills on an outlap. SPW, I think he's only got one fresh set of soft compound tyres, so he is going to wait, I think, for the last run in the session, so we can follow Mr. Rob Wills. Maybe go for 30 frames a second. You love to see it. It should change in just a second. It comes up over the hill. There we go. For some reason I'm not allowed to be in broadcast cam for Sector 1. 33-0 for Rob. Sector 1. That's a reasonably competitive Sector 1 time. Rob, he could slot right into this P2 to P5 battle. Of course, very, very close between Ranger Mick, Mikey and F. Lewis at the moment. So let's see exactly where he can put the car. Oh, excuse me. So 13.2 Sector 2 through 130, there it goes. Last chicane coming up. Taking good amounts of the curves on both sides of it. Out the last corner, keeping it nice and tight. DRS open, and he will go on to provisional pole. Rob Wills in the McLaren, it's a 29.963, and he gets it by 0.013 of a second at the moment from ENTXJ. What a lap there from Rob. So, has Rob get the pace in the car to do some damage with that lap time? Mick heading out in his last run of the day. I think we'll see most of our drivers head out. SPW out as well, he's just coming through Sector 1 for his one and only run of Q3. May have a little bit extra fuel just in case of invalidation. I think he's came out early enough to get a double run in just in case it goes wrong. So Mikey coming out the last corner, he'll have Mick not far behind. He'll be the first man to open up his last run of the session and take this pole shootout to the wire. Big chunk of time needed to put a challenge in his teammate, but let's see what Mikey can do. We know he's got the pace, championship leader of course, so this lap matters massively for Mikey here. And again, I see that brake being trailed just a little bit. That's not an issue for Mikey. Coming out the S's, that was probably one of the most committed we've seen. And he is 4.5 tenths up, so Mikey right on the pace here. If he's got any more time for the last couple of corners, he could get this McLaren onto that P1 slot, and that would mean a monumental thing in terms of the championship, because his championship protagonist at the moment is 3 positions up from him, and race very, very racy at Japan. So Mikey needs a result coming through Spoon Corner. SPW retired from the session. He's at a moment through the SC, so he is out. It will be no time. The Alpine man will start in P8. Oh no, he's in a Williams, I do apologise, but Mikey 4 tenths up, and it's not quite enough. He needs another tenth or two through this last sector. It would be enough for the second row of the grid as it stands at the moment, but if he's got any time, he needs to extract it out of that car. Out the last corner he goes. Can he attack the front row? He doesn't. It's P3 for Mikey and a 30.0. He's got himself a bit of a buffer, but Mikey coming out the last corner, he's on an invalidated lap. And down into turn 1 he goes. So Rob Wills, as it stands, on provisional pole. Let's see where ENTXJ is. He's coming up to the Sector 1 split, so he needs some time in the first sector. He's one of our lead men. In fact, he is the lead man, and he's 2.5 tenths up almost Sector 1, so he just needs to hold that advantage now. If he wants the pole position, he just needs to see it through. Tucks the car up nicely into the hairpin. and now heading round the kink towards Spoon. So down towards 130R, and ENTXJ is looking very, very tidy here. I think we could see a mid 29 inbound. It's a nearly 3/10 up. So could we see that drop to 29.6, 29.5? I think we could. Last couple of corners. Out the last kink he comes. DRS will pop open to the line and he goes on to post a 29.5 for Jay. Takes it by 0.4 of a second. And Mikey joins him now in the front row of the grid. The two championship protagonists as it stands will line up alongside each other. But look at Ranger. Ranger now putting a big threat in Mikey. Mick out of nowhere split. Mikey and F. Lewis now goes on to P2. I've missed all these guys coming through. F. Lewis now on to P2. And Ranger makes it a Ferrari front row. Where is Chubby Slug coming out of the last corner? He's 25 seconds up, but is it enough? Can he get himself into the 29s in that Alfa Romeo? He can't quite, and it's a 30.8. Whoa, what an ending! What an ending! So J from F. Lewis, not J from Ranger, from F. Lewis. Mick P4, Mikey falls to P5, what was the front row of the grid, and this looks very, very close between all of our top 6, 4/10 between our top 6 drivers. Then Chubby Slug in P7, SPW P8, Pedro P9. Yes, Jay's first ever pole position. And realistic, oof, is it your first pole period in H1 OTL? Jay, it was a very, very nice lap. Let's hope the good result doesn't come the J way and it's just a nice easy run. Let's go. First pole in competitive racing period. Let's get it. Now let's convert some. Mr. J. So we will have a little moment. Bear with me 1 second, chat. So, my tips for Japan in the race: don't do anything crazy sector 1. You probably just don't want to race MD sector 1. If you can gain a position into turn 1, do so. Very careful on the inside, going for that inside move. The inside curb can be ruthless. Sector 1, I think you just need to eye up getting close to a driver and then find a weakness through sector 2 and 3. It's either pretty good at getting a run in somebody up into the hairpin. Hairpin's a good move, or if you're good through Spoon, you can line up the move and get the toe all the way through 130R and get something done down into the last chicane. If it's a move on the brakes as well, you're able to make that overtake and retain the DRS for the main straight, so the DRS almost solidifies the move. So that for me is probably the best surefire overtaking opportunity for everybody today. Getting the move done on the brakes down into the last chicane is going to give you big opportunity with the DRS going down the main straight to defend off any kind of return. And then strategy, of course, plays a big part. Stay away from the curbs. You do not want to... You want to flirt with the curbs, but certainly don't touch them. Because they will end your race very, very quickly. We'll leave it on position change for the start. Well, let's give everybody a view of the tyres, because outside the top 10 matters. We've got Nico Rosberg on the hard compound tyre. Then Danny, Mitzi, Matt, Rage and Dixie all in the mediums, and every other driver on the sauce apart from Mick and Ranger, who managed to take their medium tyres through in Q2. So that could be huge in terms of the race. Track looking a little duller, which means it will be cooler, which should play into the favour of the soft tyres a bit earlier in the race. But the mediums will come into play. Lap 7 to 9. So the guys in the medium tyres, it's just about keeping their head down. They're probably going to come under pressure very early in the race, especially from soft tyres round about them. They probably don't need to fight that too much, just stay with them and carry on. My prediction, I'd love to see Jay convert the win, honestly. I'd love to see him do a pole to line. Mick P2 and SPW P3, although SPW is probably going to touch the curb. I expect a big drive from Rage from the back as well, as we get lined up for the OTLrealistic Japanese Grand Prix. Dixie will take that slot at the back, he will line in. We'll go to Rage and then watch from afar as we get 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And for some reason the game doesn't want me to see, but it's lights out my way, and they will peak eventually out the wall, and it seems to be a better start for ENTXJ off the front row. And side by side goes F. Lewis and Mick into turn 1. Mikey now in his soft compound tyres. Somebody goes very, very wide into the first corner, so ENTXJ been able to get a nice little breakaway. He leaves Ranger from F. Lewis, from Mick and Mikey. Chubby Slug in P6. Let's go back to position gain. It'll be interesting to see Chubby Slug now falling down the order a little bit as SPW makes a splendid move there up through the exit of the S's, and now Chubby Slug under all sorts of pressure from Pedro and Skarma, as Pedro and Skarma go side by side into Degna 1. Pedro hold that outside line and Degna 2 has a big oversteer moment, but somehow manages to keep the car in check as Skarma goes through in his Mercedes into the hairpin. Now Pedro will be put under pressure from Rob Wills. We've got some action further ahead as Ranger and Mick now go side by side heading up towards Spoon Corner, and this is where it gets a bit sketchy at Japan, because the small contacts make a big difference, and Ranger's been put on the high stuff there and he'll get back on track, and Mick able to get through, and now Ranger will come under pressure from Mikey, and you'll see that McLaren straight line speed really start to show through. He's on the better compound tyre for this early phase of the race, as well as Skarma gets through, although Mikey's going to get out of that one. He chooses just to back out it, and that's going to give SPW the opportunity maybe to get something done into this last chicane, but he chooses just to stay behind. Just now as Mikey takes the bollard for a little wander out the last corner. So what's happening further back, and look at Pedro and Rob Wills and Chubby Slug here. They'll go 3 wide. Rob, Chubby and Pedro, and it'll be Pedro and Rob into the first corner. Pedro on that high line, Rob gets out it, but Pedro's hit the curb a little bit high. That'll pull him wide on the exit, but he's managed to retain that position off for now. And Rob Wills still on that recovery from the early losses in the race. Skarma up 3. Does Slug have damage? Don't know. Oh yes. Oh yes, does he? That's damage or tyre temperatures. Oh, that's damage. Definitely think Mataman is a wounded car at the moment, but he's going to come back and Nico Rosberg into the hairpin. Oh, the front end is just not in the car at all, Mike, is it? So SPW and Skarma do battles. Skarma through now into P6 in his Mercedes. And look, as SPW washes into that dirty air, you see how much understeer that provoked in the car. Pulled him very, very wide in the middle of Spoon. But if SPW can stay on to a Mercedes, he's got a nice energy advantage, in fact 50% advantage to Skarma. It's very, very good, and yes, Jay has opened up an absolute splendid gap at the front. It's 3.2 seconds and he is absolutely chilling. 86% energy, sets the fastest lap of the race and he can chill, but here comes Mick and F. Lewis. He'll go to the high line now into turn 1 on his medium compound tyre. They'll be side by side, and let's see how that one plays out. F. Lewis able to fend them off for this lap. Mick looking to come back on the inside, but it's very rare you see that cutback happen. As we get Pedro and Ranger doing battle here. Mato and Rob Wills trying to get involved in this as well. And look at Rob Wills, he's going to go for a cheeky cut up the inside there, and they'll go side by side, but Rob Wills has to get out of that. Pedro was off the throttle as much as he could, and now Matty will capitalise on that one, and he will get through both drivers, and now Rob Wills is able to jump on that mistake from Pedro and his teammate in there, their Alpine, and Pedro loses out 4 positions in 1 corner there, or 2 corners, so not so good. They want some Adam screen time, the man on his Todd. Ranger has fallen off the order just a little bit on the mediums, so maybe it's just genuine gut pace at the moment. 5 positions down and being closed massively from Matty, but he doesn't look comfortable with something at the moment. And it is all kicking off further down the grid here. Look at the gaps between these guys. It is still going at lap 3. Matty trying to get through, and Ranger, he's on the soft compound tyre, come to the inside line as they head down to the last chicane. There's Rob Wills going to try and get involved in this. He chooses to stay behind, and Ranger just better on the brakes there than Matty and able to hold him off, but Ranger's going into the pit, so I think Ranger has somehow picked up some damage. We will stay with that one because I'm being intrigued. Let's see his Ferrari pit crew, and they do have a wing in hand. So some early bits of damage for some of the drivers. And this little podium battle was very much on. And of course, championship battle, our top 3 in the championship, J.F. Lewis and Mikey. And we've got a yellow flag middle sector, that's SPW. And down the order he goes, he touches the cup in sector 1. And that is the end of that battle he was a part of. We've still got a good fight going on back here as well. And Nico Rosberg being chased by Mr. Rage, who's got Matty and Rob Wills just a little bit ahead. Matty and Skarma, bear in mind, both drivers up 5 positions. I did call it. I did. And there's Mikey, Mick and F. Lewis here. What is going to arise? They're getting very close. DRS, of course, this lap. So F. Lewis going to struggle here to hold the drivers behind, I think. He gets a good exit off the last corner, but here comes Mikey, and you'll see that Red Bull really start to stretch his legs. And you see the closing speed halfway down the straight. He just monumental gains, and he'll slip it down the inside. But F. Lewis still holds him off, and that is great car positioning in defence. Reese, I see your comments, sir, but he is in no man's land. I've got to stay with the fight. The SPW first man on the grid to pick up a time penalty. That's karma for all the grief you give me for mine. You deserve that. I hope you get another 6. And Danny Boy now round. Sector 1. I don't know why round said like that. I think the gap's going to go there as well. Mick's probably feeling like he's getting held up, honestly. So he'll want to clear F. Lewis, but F. Lewis' pace is good, right? He's not really burning any extra energy to hold the position. But we will see what kind of move he can get made. Rob Wills closing in on Matty as well. Matty defending the inside line into the hairpin, so we'll watch that. I'm going to watch the gaps further ahead as well, but this is the closest one at the moment. Although Mick is making big gains in F. Lewis yet again, and he really needs to try and push through. Oh, on the inside curb, and he's went round, and somehow he's managed to keep the car in a semi-straight line there. And he gets out of the way of Skarma. Good man there, Mick, so he just needs to try and settle the temps down. And that inside curb on the inside line, that is the tricky one. And I think that's where F. Lewis was using his head there. he was holding the higher line and forcing the driver into that inside line, knowing that as long as he leaves space, if they try and over push it, there's going to come a time where there's a big chance to touch that inside curb. But here comes Mikey, and F. Lewis, can he make the move down into the hairpin? He's going to go for it. F. Lewis leaves the space, but Mikey's touched the curb on the inside, and round he goes. Was the race to space there? I think there was, and now look at Skarma up into the podium position as it stands. P3, SPW picks up another time penalty. Good evening, Jim. I hope you are well. And the VSC falls on the racetrack for the first time. So a bit of neutralisation. And will anybody be able to capitalise on this pit stop? Now, our race leader actually could. Is he going to take this chance to pit? He's not. He's going to stay out. Yeah, I didn't see much in that myself, Mike. I felt like there was enough space on the inside. The curb just seemed to whip Mikey around for me. So the guys behind Jay have chose to pit. Let's see how much this plays, although Jay is going to feel very comfortable. He's got a massive gap at the front right, so yeah, I think he'll be reasonably comfortable and happy with how the race is playing out at the moment. Gap 14 seconds, so yeah, he can take a pit stop. He's a pit stop now and only out P2, so yeah, Jay is chilling. Yeah, I would agree, Mike. The gap's that big, and Mitzi Matt picks up a drive through for speeding under the VSC. We're still not at a retirement. All 17 drivers still racing, which is good to see. 20 laps to go, of course, so a long way yet. As the gaps start to open up, Skarma, one of the guys to pit, as was F. Lewis, so it'll be interesting now to see how much this impacts the gaps. They've got to find about 7 seconds of track time to get in that window of Jay, and then of course once they get in the window of Jay, Jay will come back out in fresh tyres and he has looked a bit racier, so it's how much they are willing to get the elbows out. The gap of course between F. Lewis and the leaders will come down. He is the lead man on the pit stop strategy. So Jay will be comfortable at the moment. No, he's happy to take these softs on another few laps, and I think it's a good choice either way. I think it's always worth it if you're the guys behind to take the chance on that early stop. You never know what could come in the race later, and it gives you a lot of opportunity. But it was a big risk reward thing for Jay. He's in a good rhythm, so just hold it as he was. Can Skarma now get the move done in F. Lewis? As Mataman picks up a time penalty for multiple warnings. He's down there in P60. Uh-oh. And can we just talk about his recovery at the moment? I know some guys pit. He's doing okay, he's just got to keep it off the curbs. And I think there is a bit of a fight inbound. The fresh medium against the older soft. So here goes. So down the back straight to go. Both guys on the energy. They've got about the same as well, so SPW doing a good old job at keeping the energy on tap. And if F. Lewis is smart, he'll just wait. Maybe go for the move in the braking here. SPW will cover the inside line. He'll try and roll it around the outside, but SPW just lets the car roll through in the brakes, which is absolutely fine. And then the drag race begins down into turn 1. DRS and ERS full ablaze for SPW, F. Lewis. SPW makes his move over, then squeezes the line off, which is fine and fair enough. But F. Lewis still goes through. DRS very, very powerful down that main straight, and SPW not going to hold up Skarma, he's going to let him stay in that fight. That's very, very respectful there from Stephen. And Skarma is battling at F. Lewis, and this is a track battle, so respect there from Mr. Stephen. Dexia also got himself up to P11, he's right back in the mix of the pack. Running a bit of a lonely race at the moment, but he is in the race. Safety car comes, you never know. So this is where the biggest battle could arise. I think it's smart we just stay with them for a bit. Because I think Skarma could get very, very close to F. Lewis off this back straight, off the main straight. DRS open. Let's have a look. Two stops as SPW comes in for his pit. And Skarma gets the gap down to 0.3 of a second. It's Mikey now sets the fastest lap of the race, and Volksbob and Nico Rosberg. Oh, Mr. Rage! So many drivers having an incident there, what the hell have I just witnessed? There was Rage and Nico and Volks, and they were all having big moments. And that will change the dynamic of the race massively. And now F. Lewis has got a slow moving hard tyre in front. And Skarma needs to be clever here. It was very strange. Mike, I don't know what happened to Rage. So Skarma does not want F. Lewis to split him and F. Lewis to split him and Skarma with Nico. So Skarma's got to try and stay in this fight. F. Lewis maybe try and send one here in Nico Rosberg down into the braking zone to try and get that gap between, but not going to take any risks this time around. They're going to stay in the fight. So Skarma's got to push now. He has to go through, and Nico Rosberg also cannot afford to be kept behind. And here we go, it's a 3-car drag race. In fact, Skarma might eye up both drivers here. He'll go back into the toe of F. Lewis, and I don't think he'll get close enough, but he's just going to sit behind and keep himself in that battle. Just needs to stay in the fight. And here we go, Mikey and Dixie. Is Dixie going to put up much of a fight? I'm not so sure. And through goes Mikey, and Dixie will now fall in behind. Still in P11. So doing not too bad. Bear with me 1 second please, chat. So, oh, and what have I missed? Safety car out. Who is out? Ranger out of the race. Safety car has been triggered. And oh wow, does this change the complexion of the race now? So Ranger out sector 1. Oh wow. So this changes things in quite a dramatic way. And how does it shape the grid up? Let's just wait and see. We'll give it a lap and a bit, and we should have an idea of where everybody's going to filter out. So Jay will still be very, very comfortably, and Dixie's just got a drive through for speeding under the safety car. So that's insult to injury. So Jay in onto the medium compound tyre, which will be nice and comfortable. Yeah, I think so. Mike, oh, we were 12. Oh, right, aye, because they've just clicked on to 13, so yeah, it very much was. That's actually quite scary. And it was a sector 1 crash. Oh, wow. So Jay has a back marker in front of him, that's interesting. Let's see that goes through in the safety car. Jay picks it up. And then it'll be Mick to catch it round. So the Deathloos go for... Everybody went for a new tyre. Every single drive. Skarma onto the softs. Now, this could be a masterstroke. Mick has had the horrible thing, I think he's got what happened to me, but this here, this is a very, very interesting call here from Skarma. And I don't think it's as crazy as it may appear. We've just watched Jay do pretty much the distance that's needed on the soft. Lighter fuel load, so the wear will just naturally be a little better, and he'll have the early opportunity to Mick. I mean, Mick is going to really struggle to keep Skarma behind, and then Jay will have a fight on his hand with Skarma in his off. Skarma has a real opportunity to win this race. Well, I don't know, Mike. Guy's done 14 laps in the softs on Monday at the start. Remember Jay done it? Because we said, or thing me, because we saw it don't matter. Somebody done 14 laps in the softs, so it was fine. And that was from the start. I mean, being the end of the race, and Mick has box, so Mick goes into the pits. He will come out a little bit down the order. I could see them getting this going in for them racing from 16. I think Skarma has got a monumental opportunity to win this race. Yeah, I think Mick should have probably took the punt in the soft. Rage went for the soft compound tyre as well, so Rage will be one to watch. Back there in P10. And Dixie, well, he won't give a naff anymore because he's got a drive-through penalty. I'm going to grab another drink. Chat, bear with me 1 second. So, in back chat, safety car sounds like he's doing another lap, which it is. So, it will go clicking on to the lap 16. Let's go to Adam, just for the guys now. Well, it's safety car, he's going into the pits, although he's going to have to take a drive through, Kai, so he's naffed it up bad. You cannot serve the drive through while the safety car is out. So this will be on to the soft compound tyres. To the end he will go. I'm surprised Chubby Slug and that never took the punt. Pedro, this was the lap if they're going to take the pit stop to go in. Mitsima, no, he's too far away as well. I'm surprised some of the guys never took the opportunity to pit. For the sprint at Brazil as well, mate, so... So let's go to our race leader. He's been faultless today, and can we just say, no matter what, if Jay does go on to win this race, I don't think Skarma can be too disappointed, because Jay's pace at Japan across the 3 days has been very, very good, and it's warranted a good result. I think we can agree on that. So, may the best man win between Skarma and Jay, and don't count out F. Lewis. We know he likes to get his elbows out, especially in the closing phases of your race, so he could be right in there. But I could see SPW scrape a top 5 here in his Williams. And we will get the call for safety car in this lap, so they want to start working the tyres. And there it be at the top of the screen. So Jay now has control of the grid. He'll let that safety car get through that last chicane, and then he will launch them on his accord back to green flag racing. Safety car into the pitch now, so it'll be interesting to see when Jay chooses to go, and he's not going to go straight away off the last corner, he's going to wait, and now he's picked up that throttle, so he's got a good old jump here in Skarma, and look at F. Lewis, he's going to try and make the move, but I just don't think he'll get close enough. Nico Rosberg now in Wolfsburg, and could something arise here into turn 1, Wolfsburg will turn off, and Nico Rosberg will try and sling one down the inside. That was very opportunistic, and that's made a big moment, so Rob Wills now will get himself back up to P5. Mick closing down guys in the Red Bull as well. Of course he had to take that pit stop from that P2 position, but F. Lewis still over the back of Skarma, and Skarma just not getting the soft tyre fired up straight away, and needs to try and keep himself in that window. But ENTXJ seems to have some good early pace. Let's look further down. Mr. Rage, let's see how he's getting on all over the back of Mick. We're going to see a move here into the hairpin, a double move, he goes for it, and that's going to make, if he makes that stick, that's a cracking move there from Rage, because he brought the car down nicely, but not quite. Matty gets the better exit, and still gets Mick. That was a very good move there from Rage into the hairpin. He's been watching my playbook. Oof. And SPW starting to make some gains as well. He's up to P6, he's right on the back of that top 4 train. Of course he's got that penalty, so Mr. Rage should be sniffing a good result here. A couple of penalties ahead, top 6 on offer, and he's out for a mile. Somebody's had a big moment there at Spoon Corner. I think that could be Dixie, and here comes Mr. Rage. He's going to go for it in the brakes, but he goes a bit deep, and he's going to have to go very, very wide. He'll pick up a time penalty for multiple warnings and let drivers come back through, and now Mick might be able to capitalise on that small error as well. He'll come back through on Mr. Rage, and the Red Bull will just outpace him all the way down the main straight as Rob Wills now goes up to P4. He gets through in Volkswagen, and SPW will be looking to get through in Volks pretty quick. Yeah, I agree, Mike. Let's stay with this little fight though, because it's pretty juicy. Rage all over the back of them in the soft compound tyre. As SPW now hunts the back of Augsburg. Where is he going to make the move? We need to be careful for the early break here. And that's going to pull Volkswagen, so SPW feel this is an opportunity coming up here. Can he sling one down the inside into the hairpin? Here we go. It's going to be a big move, and Volkswagen Curves off, it's a small bit of contact, he manages to steer the car out of it, but he will get overtaken now by Matty on the exit, and Mick may even be able to make a run in SPW also, but I don't think he's got the legs just yet. So this is where the main fight is at the moment. Oh, Mr. Rage, what's happened to Mr. Rage? We get on board as he has a monumental moment. He's scampering across the road, it's spinning, he'll fall all the way down the order here. He's down to P15. He's only got Dixie, who's way behind after serving that drive-through penalty. Now Mikey up to P8 here. He's making some gains in his McLaren. It's all change at the front end now. Mikey goes for one on the inside at Mick. There's a small wheel bang. Mick holds that off. No idea. Mikey was way off track. DRS re-enabled as we get back to the brunt of the action. There is 9 laps to go. And Mick's flirted with that outside curve. It snaps the rear of the car into an oversteer moment, but keeps it in check. Yellow flag sector 1. Who is that in the SPW? He's done it again. The inside curb and round he goes. There was opportunity ahead for him also. Now look at Mick, Matty and Volks. Matty in a bit of a Red Bull sandwich at the moment. And he's going to want to clear Volks, I think, to try and get himself out of this situation. It's very, very good stuff, Reese. And if you keep the head down as well and you get involved in races like this, they're just really enjoyable to be a part of. As Mikey now has a sniff. Mikey has a sniff at Mick. Their names are too similar. That kind of catches me out just a little bit as our top 4 is kind of status quo. Mikey's touched the cup in the inside, and round he goes. The man in the McLaren, our championship leader, and that is not what he needed here today. Of course, Jay would make monumental gains in the championship as it stands. In fact, he'd put it to way below 10 points if Jay can convert this race victory, and it would make this championship absolutely on. Here comes Matty and Volkswagen also. Main straight DRS down the inside he goes. Is Mick going to try and come against his teammate also? Not quite this time around. And Pedro and his Alpine somehow dragged the car up into a top 8 position, and oh my god, I've jinxed him, and round he goes into the wall. Oh, Pedro, I am so sorry. As he gets back onto the track, I think he sketched Mitsumat out just a little bit there. Danny hanging on to his hard compound tyre. SPW into the pits, that's for a new wing as well. So F. Lewis back in the zone from Skarma, and Jay has just been absolutely on it here. And who's that? Mikey round again. Mikey's had a moment coming out of the S's. I'm sorry, Mike. I seem to have this effect. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I do feel like a bit of a cuss at times. So let's go to the F. Lewis Skarma battle, and we will watch this. But it's interesting. It's interesting. A battle for last place. Even if Mikey tried, I don't think he can. So here comes F. Lewis and Skarma. Skarma derating. F. Lewis will see that red light flashing at the bottom of the straight, so he'll know there's opportunity to come. 7 laps still to go in this race. Volks was pretty close to Matty there, but the opportunity fell away. And Pedro into the pits, as is Mikey. You did, so down to the back they fall. I guess it adds a dynamic at both sides of the grid, right? Speaking of which, the man at the front, Jay, absolutely on one this evening. But I'm going to leave it at that because I certainly don't want to do it to Jay what I've done to every other driver that I've went to, so I will leave it at that. And Skarma somewhere has opened up a bit of a gap to F. Lewis. F. Lewis lost the DRS there. I'm getting an invitation for F1. Not interested. It's Chubby Slug and Mick do battle and they're both round! Oh, is there been contact between Matt and Mick? And round they go. And Mick's going to be very gentle getting back onto track. There's a good man there letting the faster guys come through. So Danny Boy picks up a time penalty for multiple warnings, and Ethan just keeps falling out that DRS range, but he has got a bit of energy he can use down the back straight, which will allow him to gain a bit in Skarma, though Skarma is also using, but I think he'll just get inside the window and be getting pulled along this lap with the DRS. Rob will starting to close in this fight for P2 also, so Rob could be a part of this battle in a couple of laps time. So Jay did get DRS, but Skarma had the gap out to 1.2 seconds as he came across the line. Let's watch Chubby Slug and Nico Rosberg here coming down the main straight, both on the medium compound tyre, same age. Nico Rosberg though, of course, got a slightly better car. Mick now into the pits, onto softs he goes. I've never noticed that big kill coming out of that pit box there. And who's that? Into the pits, Dixie goes in. As Pedro sets the fastest lap of the race and he saw compound tyre, he's chasing down SPW. As Mick heads out of the pits, Mikey now takes the fastest lap off SPW. Off Pedro, sorry. Oh, and SPW's out! Wow, he's dropped the car in the first sector and he'll carry the Williams and the safety car is out! Oh my god! The battle for last place costs. And now, they all pit. F. Lewis goes for track position, so he's going to go for the win. Anybody else fancy staying out, as does Volksbob, so things just changed. How much does Matterman feel like, can he push on enough to get in front of these guys? No, he's going to pit. He's not going to take the chance. I don't think they would be able to get in front, but F. Lewis, Rob Wells and Volks all go for track position. Oh, wow. Yes, I think so, Mike. It's the same time, and wow, this just get very, very interesting between our top six, because it's not going to be easy to get through. That's my worry as well, because it's going to be a situation where you need to be quite aggressive. But is that aggression going to compromise? It's a tough balancing act. We know it all so well. He's had the wits about him at Japan. He's been very good. maybe we'd settle more for P2 and a good result there, and oh, I don't know. Ah, Stephen. So safety car is going to go another lap. So this should be the last safety car lap, then we'll have a couple of laps of racing, all or nothing. Whenever you're in a championship fight, Ethan, sometimes it's brave decisions like this that can be the difference. So I wish you well in your chances. There'll be a couple of laps of racing. Well, Bulls is winning for it also. So it's game on. One lap to go. Dixie and Mikey on the 8 shimmy their little bottoms up if they want to get involved in any racing here, although I'm not sure if they will. Because the safety car will go in this lap. So call coming up any moment now. Or not. We're going to go one more lap. Or will it be a late call? No, they're going to go one more lap. And that will really, really hurt this off, guys. And Pedro's just picked for a new set of medium tyres. That's interesting. So safety car is definitely going in this lap. We will get racing for lap 26 and 27, and that will be that. So just a couple to go. And I honestly think now pitting maybe looks a little bit like a mistake. Yeah, I do massively. He's still going to convert a good position, I'm sure, but after a dominant race, that may hurt. So it's time to work those tyres and get yourself into a nice window, a nice mindset, and go about your business as clinically but as cleanly as possible. Because you're only going to have a couple of laps. Safety car in this lap as predicted, so F. Lewis will tail the grid up and we have a bit of a battle on our hands for the last couple of laps. Front three drivers all on a worn medium tyre, every driver behind on a fresh softs. Couple of laps to go. Championship protagonist P1 on the mediums, and then P4. So Jay has now got going off the last corner, and look at ENTXG's already managed to make the jump, and Volks Bobby maybe had to get out of it. He's going to have to give the position up, and now he needs to be careful because here comes Skarma. He might try and get involved as they head down into turn 1. So Jay was just a little bit too early in that. May just be what cost him, although he's all over the back of Volksbob at this moment. F. Lewis, as it stands, able to pull out just a little bit of a gap. It's out to over a second to Rob already, and Jay needs to look for that way through. Where is his opportunity going to come? We'll stay with the Ferrari man because I think this is where all the action's going to come. There is action behind us. Chubby Slugs all over the back of Matty. He's got Nico Rosberg as well as Danny Boy loses out to Mr. Rage, gets himself inside the top 10. And look how close Jay is to Volks. So here we go. This is the first opportunity coming up. Is he going to go on the inside into the hairpin? He has to. And here he goes down the inside. Tucks up nice and neat. The tyre's going to play well into his advantage, and through he goes. Volksbob pushes Skarma out just a little bit wide, but manages to get through. So Jay has a 2.1 second gap now to his lead. Rob Wills, is he in this fight? Of course he is. Will he put up much of a fight with the penalty? He has to. He needs to give himself as much time up the road as he can, so holding people back is good for his race. We've got a yellow flag further back as Mitsumat has a moment. Jay through 130R gets the gap back down to a second. Of course there won't be any DRS though as F. Lewis comes down the hill for the second last time to take us on to the last lap. So it's make or break for these new soft compound tyre, and I got a feeling that that gap is just a little bit too much. F. Lewis may just be able to hold on to this. How much can Jay push through? As long as he keeps it on track, he's got P2 comfortably, but can he get through Rob Wills this lap to get up into that race winning position? So the gain comes as you see them wind through the sector. The soft tyre just so much better on the grip front, so he'll go to the higher line. Can he now tuck back up and make a move up into the first Egner? Rob Wills will cover that inside line off and pretty much make it impossible for Jay to capitalise here, but Jay will look to the hairpin yet again and give himself a couple of corners. There's an oversteer moment coming out of Degna 2. Up to the hairpin he goes, and that'll put him just a bit too far away I think from Rob. He'll try and go around the long way at the hairpin, so he is not going up without a fight, and look at the launch he gets on that inside line. Oh, and there's contact and he's round! No, Jay's round and he falls down the order, and he'll go to P6 and maybe even further than that is P12, and this all came crumbling down for Jay. And now F. Lewis leads the way up to 130R, and how has that happened? No! The smallest of errors in the car has pulled him round. F. Lewis into the last chicane will put big gains in Mikey in the championship. He may even get himself back to P2. He took the bull call to stay out and it paid off. F. Lewis wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Skarma P2, Matty P3. Rob Wills falls to P4, but I think he'll feel with the penalty. That was still the better choice. Mikey, our championship leader, recovers a P5. Volksbob P6. Chubby Slug P7. Mick P8. Nico 9. Danny 10. Rage 11. Mitzi Matt 12. Pedro P13. And Dixie P14. Have you ever seen such a dramatic ending to a Grand Prix? Skarma gets driver of the day from the game. It was a very good drive. He brings home P2 in the end. Best result of the season. And he's had good qualities and it's not paid off, so maybe Skarma's just found the key that back of the grid is the place to be for him. And we will get the guys in for a chat just after we get the screen for our man Jensen. What a crazy race. So F. Lewis takes the win. Skarma P2, Matty P3, Rob Wills P4, Mikey 5, Volksbob P6, Chubby Slug P7, Mick P8, Nico Rosberg P9, Danny 10, Rage 11, Mitzi Matt 12, Pedro P13, Dixie P14. and J P15 and SPW DNF'd. Of course, Jay, for the sprint now, you've got to keep your head up. Gonna have a good cut. But let's get the boys in for a chat. So we need to get F. Lewis, Matty, and Mr. Skarmer. I'm gonna have a little chat with Mr. Paul. Where is F. Lewis? Do I have Matty? Sure I do. So let's see if we can get our top 3 in. And I feel bad because Matty's a driver that kind of went about his business under the radar. But somehow managed to turn down a good result. Whoever has the stream on, can they turn it down please in the background?
Sorry, Chris.
No, you're
That's
good.
me.
You're absolutely fine. Has everybody joined us? Let's see. Yes, they have. So we will start with yourself, F. Lewis, one of our championship protagonists. You took a bold decision. You said in the chat, all or nothing. You've got to feel every day must feel commiserations for Jay there. We just need to say that first and foremost. A very controlled race, but he ran the risk of that pit stop when the safety car came out to have to try and get through traffic. And that pays dividends. So F. Lewis, the masterstroke in the strategy call near the end, you've got to be very happy with that.
Yeah. I can't believe it. I met him, I hope he just joined back, but I couldn't believe what's happened. It was a crazy race.
Yeah, a very interesting way for a race to end, for sure.
Can I ask what happened? Because I didn't have a clue.
I am not 100% sure as well. Obviously it was quite a high energy ending to the race, but as far as I'm aware it was just a curb. Maybe a bit of contact, and I'm not sure, but yeah. I don't know.
Well,
something between himself and Volks anyway, we'll see. I'm pretty sure
I thought
if
it was
something in it.
Rob.
It was Rob. I was right behind him. I think they touched wheels on that small right-hander going into before 130R, and it just spun Jay round. Physics to the game are a bit broken, but yeah.
One of the contacts. But still, you cannot dwell on the fall of others. You've got to. I mean, it seems so cutthroat, Ethan, but there's a championship battle on the line. In the terms of that, the championship leader finished P5, and the guy that you were in a good competition with for P2 falls way down the order. And I know that seems very cutthroat, but when there's a championship on the line, it's just one of those things, you know. It's played very into your hand.
Yeah, I'm not here next week, so.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. No.
Yeah, today didn't really matter. I knew I was in an Aston. I didn't actually think I'd be in the top 10. A win's a bit surprising. But
you looked pacey in qualifying, though.
yeah, but like Q1 and Ellie got knocked out. I was like 14th. And that was on softs. So somehow I found something. I think maybe the first sector. Something clicked and I just found a bit pace.
And I think that once you get into a rhythm in that sector, Japan becomes a very nice place to be.
Yeah. First time I finished a Japan race in H1 and OTL.
And you won it.
To do it.
That's it. And put yourself right back in the championship fight. That's what matters.
Hopefully some of the lads can have
You never know what happens next week, you know.
Never know.
If you were ever going to have a slim chance, this is what you had to do this evening to give yourself that chance.
Of course. And with Jay being gone and buying Sam not here, I think that puts me second.
Yes, I think it would.
Which is not bad at all.
So maybe, just maybe, there's a small slimmer of something to
There's always something.
to fight for, Ethan. But in terms of today, very, very bold call on the strategy. That staying out gave you the buffer you needed to
My plan
convert.
was do the one thing Jay and Skarma didn't do.
Just go opposite and hope for the best.
I knew that there would only be 2 laps of racing in a fort. I knew Rob would follow us because he's not going to drop with a 3-second penalty, and I hoped someone else would. And Volks did that, so it gave us a bit of a buffer.
Yeah.
And I got lucky that neither of them got past Volks at turn 1. And it slowed them up a tiny bit, which I think just won us it, which is good.
Yeah, I think on the restart at the end of Sector 1 you'd cleared already a second gap today, guys, which from there looked a gap with no DRS. It's very hard to bring in, especially when drivers are just in the last 2 laps. You're going to use 50 in high use ERS, you're going to use 50%, so it was just 2 push laps to the end, right?
Yeah, it was just going into the last lap. I knew I had the gap, I was just being careful, which unfortunately for other drivers, they were not careful enough, and it's one of them things where you can't really do much about it.
No, that's it. You never done anything wrong, so that's all that matters.
It's the first time in a bit. Stephen will be mad. Stephen will
anyway,
be livid.
Very, very good job tonight, Ethan. A thoroughly deserved race victory.
Yep, cheers.
Skarma, Mr. Paul.
Yes, Chris.
Can I swear in realistic? I'm gonna say it. You absolutely shithoused a P2 there. That was tremendous.
Yeah, I screwed up quali pretty bad when I crashed on my outlap. I had a good start though. Turn 1, I think a few people gave a bit too much room, so I got past about 3 cars, but the last safety car, I thought it was going to screw me, but I think Lewis was going to get past anyway, because I went to softs just for a bit more pace.
Yep.
But he literally was within that second. I don't know if he had DRS every time, but it was literally flicking between. Yeah, it was literally flicking between each one, but I couldn't stay out. My tyres were almost going off anyway. If I had stayed out, I think I wouldn't have got second as well.
So you think if you stay in the mediums like Ethan and that did on the restart, you'd have fell off a bit?
No, I was on softs.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. You're alternate strat guy, because you started from the back.
Well,
Oh, P10.
P10, yeah. I had to start on soft, so it wasn't too bad. But I'm happy with a P2. I didn't think I was going to get past Volts when I did. I had to try and get past when Jay did, and try and keep with them to stay near enough to Rob. But Volts did a brilliant job helping Lewis anyway. He got about 2.5 second gap, I think, after we got past. But no, he did very well for the win today. He deserved it.
And you were in a good battle with F. Lewis as well. He's kind of...
Yeah, just before the safety car. Like I said, he was holding on to me, but...
Yep.
We were falling off the back of Jay, but yeah, I think he would have had me anyway near the end. But no, it was fun. That was good. So.
And it's good to see you get a good result, Skarma. It's about time.
Yeah, I know. I like this league anyway. I've got, I think, 3 podiums in this league. I still haven't got a first, but it's coming. One day it'll get there.
That's it. I believe.
Thank you.
It's a good job, mate. Very well done on the P2.
Thank you.
Matty, are you here?
Good evening.
Good evening. Matty, I said this just at the end of the race. I feel like you kind of just quietly went about your business tonight. I didn't really see you tangled up in too much drama. And I can't really say that I see much action, so you're going to have to do your best to talk us through what happened in your race.
Not a right lot, to be honest. In the straight line, they were a bit slow, so it was a struggle to keep people behind.
Yep.
But that last safety car definitely helps, because Rob made a big mistake not paying. And then, yeah, from there I think everyone just scrapping with each other helps me get up to P3.
So it was, as I suspected, quite a silent assassin P3.
Yeah, the only work I had to do at end really was keep Mattelman behind.
Which is easy, because you always predict he's going to bin it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there were a lot of sending it going on in that airpin in that race.
And that's got to be one of your best results since joining, Matty, right? If not the best. Especially Aston Martin to P3.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've had a second. I'm not sure on that.
I
Maybe at
think you
Belgium.
maybe did have a second, but I think you were in a better car. Maybe a McLaren
Yeah,
or a
yeah, we're in the
Ferrari.
McLaren. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say to date, this is probably your best result. You showed a bit of grit today in a slower car. Even in a slower car, you can pull good results. It'd be interesting to see if you stay, how you got on a full season.
Yeah, I think I like Japan as well. I feel once you've done a couple of laps, it's a nice track to drive.
Yeah, I would agree. Unless you don't find the rhythm, then you can be in big problems. As some drivers found out, the Cubs are absolutely ruthless here.
Especially Sector 1, I mean, it can be hard, but once you start nailing it, it just feels so much smoother.
I do agree. So very, very good job, Matty, on your P3. A very, very good drive. A quiet,
Cheers,
but
mate.
sometimes the quiet drives are the nice drives, you know. And it brought you
Yeah,
a podium, so what does it matter?
especially after qualifying, because I messed up, because I did a medium lap. And I probably should have gone on softs.
Where did you
I would have
start?
started 11th or 12th, I think.
Yeah, you're 11th, just behind me.
If I'd have done a soft lap in Q2, I think I'd have gone through.
But still, who's to say you maybe don't get caught up in one of the melees in the middle point of the race in the midfield, and then you'd have never finished on the podium. So maybe you started on the right place.
Yeah, that's true.
So very good job, Matty. A very, very good P3. I'm
Cheers,
gutted
mate.
for Jay tonight, but happy for the podium. A little bit of a different one this week, which has been good to see. He's kind of breaking the momentum. It's really annoying that F. Lewis isn't here next week, because it'd have been interesting to see the championship battle just comes alive and guys disappear. Boo. But still, very
Don't
good.
blame me. I don't have a choice.
Very good job, F. Lewis, Skarma, and Matty. And my driver of the day today would have been Skarma.
Thanks, bud.
A very close second and third of full podium, deserve recognition. Jay, of course, if he converts the win, he was faultless, would have got it just in the dominant manner, but what happened happened, and there's not much we can do about that. So on that note, that is us for this week. P0 back on Sunday. Where are they on Sunday, Paul?
We are at Singapore on Sunday.
Yeah, I knew that. Singapore Sunday. Ooh, it's got a nice ring to it. So until Sunday, we will see you soon.